Let me put it this way. I'm going to try my best to be respectful to all scenarios and all people, even though that might be impossible to do. We are recording. Okay, we're back. Lucid Perspective channel. I started late today. Super busy day. Today's video is about trauma. Psychological trauma. Not physical trauma. Not bodily trauma. Psychological trauma. Now, I found a perfect video off of TikTok. I don't know the creator's name. I'll add it and credit her in a little bit. So let's get to the video. We're going to watch the video and then we're going to talk about trauma. Okay. Really quick. Trauma. I think it's one of those things, right? It aligns with mental health. It aligns with making a choice, choosing what to be affected by in your life, what to make a priority, what to identify with. Let's jump into it.
In this series that I'm doing, that your grandfather likely raped your grandmother, and the book that I'm writing about it, you guys please follow my page so that you can get your family story in there. I just came upon
Get your family. So she's writing a book about how your grandfather raped your grandmother.
How does this benefit anybody? How does that benefit anybody? So you write a book based on all these stories about trauma, and then what? And then what happens? You feel better that the fact that, oh, well, see, this is why I'm single. Ma'am, this was 40, 50, 60 years ago.
She's single?
Why don't we do a book of that more than likely ain't your daddy? Why don't we do that book? We could also do a book that's more than likely not your granddaddy. We could do a book that ain't really your last name. We could do a book that ain't your great granddaddy. Oh, my bad. They've already done it. It's called Finding Your Roots.
It's listed. Notice also that it was made out in 1947, which is over a year after your mother was born.
Got him.
The man that not only I believed to be my grandfather on my father's side, but it's also the man that my father and his twin brother believed was their father. And now that whole theory was defunct.
Right, that's right. Their daddy wasn't their daddy.
My dad is not my biological father. That I was born from a sperm donor.
You are not a Roberts, biologically.
I bet nobody knew.
Well, everybody near that farm knew because her husband wasn't there and she was still having babies.
Wow.
Wait, can you stay with me? Are you saying that you reject the results of these two tests? That's what I need to hear.
Ooh, what's happening here?
So instead of going back decades, in some cases a century, to find out if your
Trauma.
grandmothers were assaulted, why don't we talk about something we can actually scientifically prove? That a lot of them are liars and some of y'all are lying now. We can scientifically prove that. We can put that in a book.
DNA test.
They're putting it on TV. And these are just celebrities. We're not even talking about regular, everyday folks. These people went to the point where Kerry Washington's mama sat here and said that he was a surrogate. What black folks back then had money for a surrogate? Lying to the grave. Literally. But you want to go back to the part that you have no control over and you want to pull up trauma rather than pulling up truth.
Oh,
that
shit.
a lot of these mamas was hoeing. Why? Because they had time and they had opportunity. Daddy at work all day. There was one where they knew exactly who the guy was that was the daddy because he lived around the corner and he waited till the husband went to work and freaked her. And that's how they found out who the daddy was. They knew exactly where the man lived. Don't reach back to sit here and confirm how men ain't shit and we need to be single and I'm selectively single because men ain't shit. Why don't you talk about how y'all ain't shit when you get pregnant and the daddy ain't the daddy who you want to be the daddy? So you make up some shit. But that shit's running out on you. It didn't run out on your grandmama because they didn't have all that back then. But oh yeah, y'all finding out a whole lot of y'all grandmamas a hoe. And y'all don't like that shit. Because grandma ain't gonna
I didn't know she was gonna go there with this.
Terrible granddaddy was.
I'll be
How
honest.
he used to come in and do this and do that.
I didn't know.
Tell you how she would lay up there and wait for Mr. Charlie to come around and dick her down once daddy left for work because he saw his Cadillac drive past his house. She ain't gonna tell you that. Don't make up stories. Do not create narratives of trauma and dig up stuff to confirm or to make you feel better and that you want to be single. Just be fucking single.
So I did not watch the whole video before I started recording this, but that's fine, right? Because this is what the internet is. Now, I agree with her message. I love her message about not focusing on trauma from 50, 60, 70 up to 100 years ago. It is pointless. It makes no sense. So her point there was absolutely correct. And I thought that's where she was going to take it and stay there. But she went another route, which is cool, which is fine. She took it to accountability for women and some of the dirt that women do, which is totally fine too, and happens, and it is true. However, I don't think jumping from one trauma and then jumping to another state of trauma or another trauma focus isn't the answer. But she's not wrong, right? So I guess she was basically saying you want to focus on grandfathers 60, 100 years ago and the dirt that happened in that time that may or may not have happened when women today are having children that are not their husbands, not their boyfriends, screwing around or whatever. And I get it, and that's fine. My message on trauma is don't seek it out, right? Everybody mostly everybody can say they've had some traumatic things happen to them, me included, right? In our lives, childhood, teen years, early youth, early adulthood, whatever the case have you. It's how you decide and what you choose to deal with that trauma that makes you who you are. So for instance, the first woman in this clip who's dedicating a whole book for some reason into going into the past and shedding some light on some grandfathers or, people in ancestry that did dirt. Okay. Where's the value to society in that? Just focusing on traumatic events, abuse, sexual harassment, rape. Where is the benefit in focusing on that, right? There is none, to be honest, especially for something 100 years ago. Now, today, that's a little different. If you wanted to focus on identifying a traumatic problem that's happening today, and also in the same breath provide solutions, nothing wrong with that. Go for it. But you're going back 100 years. You're writing a book about 100 years for shit that nobody could do nothing about. Nobody can't change. Nobody can't correct. If anything, the families involved, you're just causing more trauma in those families. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it makes no sense. Now, as for that show that she was showing, where they go back to ancestry and find, ancestry, it's the same deal. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. Now, if these people are still alive today and they can be held accountable and called to the front of the congregation, that's different. But if you're talking about shit that happened so long ago and none of those people are alive, it makes no fucking sense. Now, speaking of truth and speaking of yourself for today, right? For who you are today. Everybody has a clean slate. Let me put it this way. I'm going to try my best to be respectful to all scenarios and all people, even though that might be impossible to do. Starting today, starting this minute, this second, this moment, anybody watching this anywhere in the world, everyone has a clean slate, can create a clean slate for themselves and decide and make a conscious decision, an intentional decision to put trauma behind you, put trash traumas behind you, exit out of your life, understand it for what it was for, take lessons from it, but to take something that happened to you in the past, bring it to who you are today, and then make it an identity and put a priority on it over your life, doesn't help. It's the same thing as going writing a book about families 100 years ago. It has no benefit for society, has no benefit for you. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of people, I know that a lot of people tend to focus on past traumas, They bring it, they think about it every day. They make it a part of their identity. You know, every chance they get, they got to share it with somebody or tell somebody about their trauma. Like, it really makes it a part of your psyche, a part of your soul, a part of your energy. And if it's not serving you, right? If that trauma is not serving you, there really is no need to focus on it in that way that much. You know what I'm saying? I want to give examples, but I don't want to. No, I'm not going to give examples. I'm not going to talk about personal stuff with people. But the moral of the story is, the point of this video is, let traumas go, right? If you need healing from trauma, I would suggest meditation. Honestly, I don't personally believe in shrinks and psychiatrists and psychologists that much, or, you know, the people that you lay on the couch and talk to. I feel like, for me, that practice is etched in the medical industry and big pharma, and it's not necessarily about healing people. It's about money and sitting you down, having you talk about your trauma, bring it to the forefront so you can keep coming and keep paying for those sessions, because it's a money pit, right? If they were really, I felt like if they were really focused on healing, you know, they would do that, but generally they don't, you know. And if somebody's out there, if you have a story, a personal story for yourself, and you went to a psychiatrist and you spoke to somebody and they fixed you and you didn't have to keep going, please let me know. You know, say I love having discourse and talking about things like that. Me personally, I don't believe that most of those type of doctors are in it for the general well-being of the public. I think most doctors are in it for monetary reasons. That's me, right? My thing is, work on yourself, fix yourself. If you have a traumatic event, something happened to you, again, this is a conscious choice, you know, and I'm not a wordsmith in the mental psyche realm. I've had trauma. I've had things happen to me. I have people really close to me that's had things happen to them, and we don't live our lives based on those traumatic events. We don't make it a part of our identity. It is not something for us to focus on every day, every hour, every second. It's not something we need to necessarily share with everybody we meet. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that it's different for every person, depending on what happened to you, right? But you have to want to heal. You have to want to be better. You have to not want to dwell in it to get better. So meditation, gym, healthy eating, get your field of greens. That shit could help. You know, get your vitamins, get your kale and your superfoods, super greens popping. And again, that's today's video. Moral of the story: do not focus on traumatic events in your life. They do not serve you. Instead, focus on positivity. Focus on dreams. Focus on good things that happen to you. If anything, make something a part of your identity that is good for you, or that has been a positive thing in your life. It could be a person. It could be a job. It could be an event. It could be anything, right? Let's put the traumas behind us. Let's move away from traumatic events, traumatic memories, and let's focus on positivity, focus on good, focus on being better versions of ourselves rather than depressive, low vibrational beings. That's the message of the day. I appreciate you guys. Please like, share, subscribe. We're going to do this every day as much as I can. I may skip a day here or two depending on work or what's going on. But I appreciate you guys. I'm going to be here soon. My wife is going to jump on some of these videos with me, so you'll see her face again. We're going to do collabo videos. But I'm excited to bring the channel back. I'm glad we're here. This is today's video. Thank you so much. Peace out.